Good day, everyone. So in today's class, we'll be looking at something interesting, which has to do with how to lock dates or how to close your books of accounts for a particular period. So before we start today's section, I want to take you to our website. It's actually one of the good things we have tried to put in place to ensure that we are able to, build trust among us and our partners, because here at Miramar Consulting, we don't see our participants or students as just mere participants. We see you all as our partners, and this is for you all. So you can visit our website on miramar.com.ng, okay? And kindly go through, our try to explore our categories of accounting software courses. We have all-round accounting software courses, and if you need guidance as far as the description, so on and so forth, you can also be able to check it out. Okay, and also we also offer accounting and auditing service, so you can also visit that section of the software to be able to go through our accounting and audit services here in Miramar Consulting. So far at the moment, we offer our bookkeeping service. Okay, we offer our reconciliation service, we offer our payroll services, and also our auditing services. So as we look forward to that, and here are 4 reasons why you should choose Miramar Consulting for your accounting and auditing service. Our audit partners here ensure that the audit is conducted in line with best practices. Okay, and we also look out for the risks your company faces now and likely to face in the future, and we advise you accordingly. We don't only provide you with your detailed financial statements at the end of the assignment, and also we also provide our clients with management reports, which capture the internal control deficiencies as well as the critical gaps in the business. And so far, we have a good client base. If you go to our home page, if you scroll down to the end, you'll see some companies in which we, at the moment, we consult, and we have set up both our accounting software and also provide a good accounting system for, like Classic Hotel, IRAD Group, okay, and Solid Step Schools, and a lot of them. So you can be our partner. Thank you very much. So going back and moving forward, in today's class, I said we are looking at locking of your transaction and as well as closing of your books of accounts. Good. For the name, I am Williams. Stay in touch with us. You can subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can also register for our training. It's very affordable. Like I said, go to the website to get information under the section where we have that of our training and support. Okay, under our training and support section, you will be guided on all relevant information you need as far as our accounting software training is concerned. By just a click, you'll be able to go through all information. So you get to see our fee, and more reason why you should take part whenever you get to see any of our discounted programs, which we charge just 10,000 naira instead of our normal charge of 25,000 naira per application. So see you in class. All right, so in continuation of what we're looking at today, we are looking at how you'll be able to set a lock date for your transactions, more like closing your books, okay? And it's very important. Now, let me start by saying that in Sage accounting, okay, closing an accounting period is not actually required, but a lock date can be set to prevent any changes that might affect financial ledgers on or before a desired date. So it's very important that you must be conversant with this. You can't undergo our training at Miramar Consulting without you knowing how you can actually lock transactions or close your books of account for that very period. Okay, so now here in Sage, enough of the talk. How do you do it? Because we work basically on practical than theoretical. Okay, so how do you do this? So close your transaction. Let's say, for example, we're in August, and for the month of August, we are saying that we are done with our transactions. We have moved to September and we want to close those books for that month of August. Now, how do you do this? In Sage, you come to the company module, okay? Then you scroll down to where we have change company settings. Click on change company settings. Now, you wait for it to load. When it loads, you scroll down, okay? to where we have general settings. You click on general settings. Then after clicking on general settings, the first option is what you select, where we have the financial years. When you click on financial years, you scroll down and you will see where we have the lock down date. So that's where you're going to lock that very date you want to lock. So if I'm coming here, initially it's not going to be locked. So what do? I have to select it and say, yes, Sage, I want you to help me lock the transaction for August. I want you to help me lock the transaction for July, provided I'm in July and I'm done with my accounts, and we have reviewed everything, accounts have been balanced, and moving forward, definitely balance brought forward, and so on and so forth. Definitely you have to do that, okay, to enter the desired lock date that you want. Then what do you do after entering it? If, for instance, I am saying I'm done with August, like I said, or I'm done with July, I will come and say that the 1st of July, and then I say save. Now, oftentimes I explain these two types of save, that this save saves it and keeps you here on this same dashboard, but this other save and close saves and takes you back to the home dashboard or the home window. Now, what do? You then click on save, okay? And when you click on save, automatically, this this close lock icon is going to pop up, asking you, that the lock processing date you have entered is in the current financial year. Are you sure you want to continue it? You say yes. And it's also informing you more of a warning that setting this log processing date will prevent transactions with an earlier date from being entered or changed. Then you say, yes, Sage, I know this is what I want. Then you clicked on it and you say, save and close, since we want to leave this very aspect. So this is just how you'll be able to take care of that. Now let's take an example. Let's assume, okay, let's assume that there is an accountant and her name is Claire, and Claire wants to prevent any changes to financial statements before any changes to financial statement before 1st of August 2022. And Claire, a lady, is set, okay, to do this. Now what will she do? She sets the log date, okay, to what? 31st of July, okay, which she just did just now. And if, for instance, Williams, now come to the system and I say, oh, Claire asked me to do a posting, blah, 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 or I want to do a posting, okay? If I try to edit or delete any transaction dated on or before the log date Claire have set, a warning message is going to pop up. Okay, the warning message is going to pop up. Now, let me show you how the warning message is going to pop up. Now, if I come to my banking and say I want to make a particular payment, a particular maybe account, maybe a purchase that was made, because basically there is something we should understand as far as transaction aspect is concerned. I remember one of my classes which I took participants on, and some participants were like of the view that this transaction of a thing, they really don't really get to understand it. And most of our classes most times have been attended to by participants who doesn't really have that accounting background knowledge. And that's more reason why when I'm trying to do postings, records and every other aspect, I try to break things down for them to get to understand. Now, I came down here to the banking center, okay, or the banking module to record a particular kind of transaction. And this transaction has to do with expense. So whenever you want to record an expense where payment is made directly from your bank account, it's in Sage. You have to come directly to your banking module and come down to your transactions and come down to banking to be able to do that. Now, what we want to capture is an accounting transaction. And accounting transactions are the activities of financial exchanges, okay, that takes place within a company's business environment. So just take note of that. And although we know that although transactions of a company, can, and most times, of a business, it must relate to those monetary exchanges. And the term accounting transaction, in a simply note, as usual in our class, how we often put it, it just specifies the nature of record keeping of those transactions. And all business transactions are recorded and adjusted based on the accounting principles, which is very important. Now we are looking at how to lock the date, and definitely it's important that we look into the term of these accounting transactions, so we can be able to find relevance on this. And so I was looking into that. I remember when Shegun was asking me about the nature of transactions, how do we do the posting here and there. Basically, there are common accounting transactions which every business must always take note of. For example, it could be transactions from sale of finished goods to customers. It could be transactions from maybe cash that was paid to vendors, or for inventory purchase. It could be that leading to purchase of raw material for the manufacturing process, okay, which we know in a manufacturing setting, definitely we'll be looking at raw materials, work in progress, and that of the finished goods. But it could be revenue that was generated from maybe one or two banking kind of transactions or interest income. Okay, now we are looking at recording this, dating it back against what Claire have done. So let's say Claire wanted to at a point she wanted to renovate her office complex, and she decided to order for fixture and fittings. Okay, let's say it's what's 20,000 naira in cash consideration. And she asked me to go and make this entry into the account books. But now it could be that Claire have already purchased this. Okay, these furnitures, these fittings, or these fixtures have already been purchased, but was omitted, was not recorded for that very period during that July. Now, since Claire have locked that very transaction already, it's going to be difficult for me to capture it. So I'm going to try to see how I can capture what Claire have just purchased, what she purchased before now. So let me do that quickly, so that we can have a good balance of our, when we are trying to reconcile the accounts. So what do? I'll come to my banking, come to my transactions, and come to banking. Okay, so when I come to banking, I want to look into how I'll be able to record that. Now basically, since she made the purchase in cash, okay, we know that the cash account is going to be credited, okay, while that of the other account is going to be what? Debited. But now let's assume she made the purchase. Let's assume she made the purchase. Now she made the purchase through bank. Okay, definitely bank account will be credited, while that of the purchase account will be what? Debited. So what do I do here on the banking center? I will come over to banking and say Excel Nigeria Limited. Okay, maybe that's the accounts, the bank account's name, and this is what we have as our bank balance. And I will come under here to say, let me change the date. Okay, so I'll change the date to July. Remember, she said that posting was for July. So I come down to July 7th. Okay, now for payee, I can put the particular company or the payee where it was being purchased from. So I can say it was purchased from Icon Global Nigeria Limited, company to company, company to business, and Global Nigeria Limited. Okay, description, you can just say, let me just say purchase of, let's say purchase of a particular, we'll say purchase of furniture. Okay, now we can say this from our supplier. So instead of saying accounts all the time, we can just put supplier there. But if we say we want to follow a particular account, we can also put an account there where we talked about purchase accounts and that of the bank account. Or we can say, let's just direct this directly to our supplier. So Sage allows you to click on that supplier. So we can check which supplier we have. If there is no supplier like Icon Global, no need of you wasting time going to supplier center. Right here, you can click on add new and add that supplier. So we say that supplier is who? Is Icon Global Nigeria Limited. And categories, you can ignore that category, you can ignore every other information, and you come down to save. So that way we have just created and selected that very supplier. So now we are spending from our bank accounts of this amount, 8557. So what do? We come to spend section and we say how much. We say 20,000 naira was what Claire spent. Now, after selecting that very information, we can then scroll down to where we have, usually I always tell you, select it, and then click on what? Save changes. So this is just the solution to that problem Claire is having. Okay, it's just for us to do this. Okay, and this was specifically based on this, so we have to ensure that this is done. So it's more like noticing the dual nature of entries, where every transaction have to affect the both the sides of the that of the accounting equation. And we know the accounting equation is majorly asset equal to liability plus equity. But now we are not looking at accounts. If we were to look at accounts and we say this was exactly an account, definitely we should be expecting the affecting account and blah, blah, blah. But this transaction is done specifically direct from our supplier. And we said the supplier is who? Icon Nigeria Limited. And we have to proceed for this to be captured. So right here, we can say, okay, we have just captured this information and this data, and we have selected this. The next thing is to do what? Mark selected as reviewed. But something is going to happen here. Something is going to happen. And what is that? We tried to enter this transaction which was not captured. And we are saying we want to mark as selected as reviewed. But no, it was not accepted. Okay, you can see here we have a lockdown date has been set. No transactions can be processed or edited with a date up to and ending or up to and including 31st July 2022. What this means is because Claire have done what? She closed this. She already set a lockdown date for this transaction. And this is more reason why we have to go back and uncheck that box, okay, to remove that box so that the log date is going to be removed. And definitely this icon of this arrow icon is going to disappear, okay? But the truth is, however, if we leave the box checked, okay, but don't delete the date, at all times, this will be popping up for us. I will not be able to completely, make changes to previously logged transaction. And this is more reason why this is important. So the log data is very important and it's useful when you have multi-users, kind of stuff. And it also prevents, typical restricted users from modifying locked transactions that you may have. And it's important that you take notes into, you look into that to ensure, you prevent them from unlocking restricted transactions and also changing data. So it's very important. So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to say, okay, thank you very much, Sage. And I will move straight to my company model, change company settings. I say leave. So I will go back and uncheck that. So for administrators or restricted users, okay, with full access to the software, the feature will still act as a reminder to prevent accidental data modification. Okay, so I can come straight to my general settings and my financial years. So they will need to deliberately remove the log date before changing protected data. That's for administrators. So the best practice for temporary suspending the log date depends on who is authorized to make such changes. Like I will come here and say, oh, let me remove this. This means I am authorized already to be able to make such changes, and whether I will know the desired log date based on the information that might have been given to me by Claire. So unchecking the box removes all visual evidence of a log date, and I can always navigate back to this point through the company model to do that. Okay, and ensuring that this information is what is properly what captured, and I can go back to do that. So the log date does not prevent things like modification of description, notes, and so forth. No, it does not even prevent maybe pending bank transactions from being cleared. No, but all it does is just to lock previous transactions. And from this, I can click on my save and close and go back to capture that very transaction. Okay, that Claire asked me to do, and definitely it's going to be captured properly. So if I come back to my banking and I come to my transactions and to my banking and I say I want to capture that very transaction, you'll notice that I'll be able to do that. Okay, I'll be able to do that. So let's say at this point we are not doing this through bank, let's do it through accounts. Okay, for those who wants to still understand the account procedures here. So let me go through accounts. I'm going to use through the journal system. So I can come through our process journal entries and be able to do that. Or I could say I want to still continue it over here. But what you should watch out for is that it's no more going to ask me, for those very information anymore. So let's say Claire actually purchased this item through cash. Okay, she made the purchase in cash. So the cash account will be credited. So how do we do this posting? Now, we come to our accounts, accountant area. We come to the process journal entry section, and it's going to bring up this for us to see. Now, we are going to specify the date, and we said it was 7th of July. So we are going to move the date backward to 7th July. Okay, and we come to the account section and we say, okay, normally, like I said, the effect is for debit and the effect is for credit. And it's important you take note of that because all transactions that businesses carry out, are founded on this principle. Okay, on the principle of the accounting equation, which is asset equal to liability plus equity. And every change in asset, will have an equal effect on the right-hand side, which is very important. And what I mean is that liabilities and equity, that's the purchase account, is an asset account, while cash, in this case, will be on the other part. So what do I do now? I'm going to say I want to, based on this transaction, I said I'm going to credit that of cash. But first of all, I need to check how much do we have in our cash accounts. How much do we have in our cash accounts? So I will come to my list of accounts, and I come to select my cash. Okay, we have 213,600. Okay, so I'm going to come back to my accountant area and say process journal entries. Then I scroll down. I see the date is our 7th of July. Then I say accounts for the debit. We said that based on the transaction that took place, she made the purchase in cash, so the cash account will be credited, and that of the furniture fittings, blah blah blah, will be what debited. That's more like our purchase. So what we're going to do here, we're going to look for that very account. So let's say we have it generally, or it was not on credit. So definitely we might decide that, oh, why don't we go and create that very account before we come back here to see how, we can take care of that. So we're going to create that account. We can come, okay, it's here. We have furniture and fittings. Okay, so we say it's going to be debited based on that transaction. Then you can put a description and just say, and we just say purchase of furniture, purchase of office furnitures. I'm not using directly purchase accounts. So we'll say credit. We're going to credit our cash, which is going to be affected by that. Okay, so once we have done that, we'll say how much. Remember, our cash balance was 213, I think 600. So we say this was purchased for 20,000 naira. So it's going to reduce the balance. So when we do this, we then do what? We say we select and we mark selected as reviewed. So ladies and gentlemen, it was accepted because the checkbox for the lockdown dates have been unticked. So we can come in here to our review journals and it's not showing. So why? Because we have not saved. So we'll say save. Okay, we have saved that very journal. And then when we come to our review journals, we're expecting that we should be able to see, provided that very transaction was captured properly. But now it's not showing. Now, why is it not showing under our review journals? It's because we have an option we have not changed here. You can see we have display from, we're having 1st August to 30th of September, which is wrong. That transaction was omitted, and we backdated it to 7th, which was previously closed. So if we are to display, we have to change the display to when we are going to change it and move it backward, to 1st July till dates. Okay, so we can't say at this point, refresh, since we have changed it to 1st July to date, I can see that transaction have been captured. These have been captured. So we can decide to save, can decide to export to Excel, so on and so forth, whatever I want to do with this. So while this is done, we can go back to view our list of accounts or a report by accounts to check our cash accounts here. And if we go down to check our cash, you'll notice our cash have reduced to what? 193,600. And Sage provides you being able to also view that very account in a more detailed format to get to see all the different breakdown that account under a section we call activity section. Under that very account, cash account, you can see the activity section. what was or what came in. That's based on increase and decrease and the closing balance and so on and so forth, and be able to get to see this. Now, seeing this 193,600 might quite giving you some questions like how did this come to be? So you can click on it and be able to go more further to see that actually there was a transaction here, of 20,000 naira, which was deducted to give us what we have, yet. But that of September is a previous one, but this was backdated, so you can be able to, get to see all that. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just majorly how it works. And to close this section, definitely you should be interested in your reports, which we know that the endpoint is always the reporting aspect. So if we click on our POL report, and we say we want to run this report, it could be for a particular account, or it could be just generally running this, or even if we say it's our trial balance we want to look into, okay, we want to look into our trial balance, we'll be able to generate our report and do our comparisons for whether it's monthly comparisons, whatever kind of comparisons we want to do, we're able to see all. So you can see right here for mutual and fittings, 20,000 naira, okay, and can see our trial balance is balanced. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This is where I'm going to stop for today. So don't forget to visit our YouTube channel. Don't forget to visit our website. All our programs are value added. So keep in touch with us, and God bless. Thank you. Good night.